My husband loved to tell people I trapped him with a baby. He forgot I still had the video where he admitted switching my birth control pills because he was done waiting for me to be ready. He also forgot that screenshots, pharmacy records, and a very unimpressed judge don't care about his family's version of events. Before I get into it, if you like long Reddit-style stories about toxic relationships, reproductive coercion, family drama, and legal revenge, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. It really helps more people find these full stories. I'm 31F now. My soon-to-be ex-husband Ryan is 34M. We met when I was 24 and he was 27. Back then, he was the nice guy in our friend group, steady job in it, close with his family, the kind of guy who brought snacks to game night and remembered everyone's birthdays. I grew up in a pretty chaotic home. Divorced parents, money problems, constant moving. Ryan's world looked like a stability fantasy. Same house his whole life, Sunday dinners with his parents, photos from family vacations where everyone actually smiled. I fell hard for that. On our second date he told me, "I want the boring stuff. Mortgage, minivan, 2 kids and a dog. I'm not a party guy. I want a family." I said, "I want the boring stuff too, just not yet. I want a career first, then kids." He nodded. "We can take our time," he said. "We'll do it right." I believed him. We dated for 3 years before getting married. We talked about kids a lot, not in an abstract someday way, but in actual timelines. My plan: build my career in marketing, get a promotion or two, pay down my student loans, then start trying around 32. His plan, 28 max. "We don't have to wait that long," he'd say. "My mom had me at 23. She says it's easier when you're young." "My mom had me at 19 and regretted it for 10 years, I'd respond. "I want to be ready mentally and financially, not just biologically." We compromised on, "We'll talk again in a few years." I went on the pill. We used condoms early on, then stopped when we both got tested and were exclusive. I was very clear. "I don't want to get pregnant right now," I said. "I will lose my mind if I have to be pregnant and broke and stuck." "I would never do that to you," he said. He said that a lot. The pressure started after the wedding. It wasn't obvious at first, more like a slow drip. We'd be at his parents' house for dinner, and his mom would say stuff like, "When I was your age, I already had a preschooler. Don't wait too long or the baby years will pass you by. You're not getting any younger, sweetie." I was 27. His dad would make jokes. "Better get started on those grandkids while I'm still young enough to chase them." I'd laugh it off. "We have time," I'd say. "We're focusing on our careers right now." Ryan never really shut them down. He'd just smile and say, "We're working on her," like I was a project. In private, he'd say, "They're just excited," and then bring up baby names in bed like it was foreplay. It wasn't cute. I got promoted at 29. It was a big deal. New title, new pay grade, a small team under me. I was finally in the position I've been grinding toward since college. On my first day in the new role, Ryan brought home a fancy dinner and champagne. "To my future baby mama," he said, toasting. "To my new job," I corrected, clinking glasses. "Baby talk later." He smiled, but there was something tight around his eyes. "What if we don't wait till 32, he said. "We're doing well, we have a house, we have savings, you could totally be a working mom." "I could," I said, "but I don't want to be pregnant while I'm proving myself in a new role. That's career suicide at my company. You know how they treated Megan when she came back from maternity leave." He made a face. "Your job shouldn't matter more than our family plans," he said. "It doesn't," I said, "but timing does. I'm not saying never, I'm saying not this year." He dropped it, sort of. He still brought it up on drives, on walks after sex. Little comments like, "I had a dream you were holding our baby. Imagine a little one running around this Christmas. You'd be such a good mom, it's a waste to wait." I kept repeating the same line. "I will be ready, just not yet, please respect that." He always said he did. When I turned 30, his family doubled down. At my birthday dinner, his mom gave me a card that said, "Happy 30th to a future amazing mom," with little baby footprints on it. Inside she'd written, "Time to start the real adventure." I smiled tightly and said thank you. Later in the car I said, "That was rude." Ryan laughed. "She's just excited," he said. "She's been waiting to be a grandma forever." "I've been waiting to be treated like an adult," I said. "This is my body, my life. If we can't even make it to 31 without them nagging." He cut me off. "You're always so dramatic about this," he said. "We want the same thing. I just don't understand why you're dragging your feet." Because it's my uterus, I wanted to scream. Instead, I said, "We made an agreement, career first. We're not even at the timeline we talked about yet." He shrugged. "People change their minds," he said. "You might be surprised how happy a baby would make you." Those words, "you might be surprised," they'd echo in my head later. I stayed on the pill religiously. Same brand, same pharmacy, alarms on my phone. I didn't skip doses. I didn't play games. 1 month, about 6 months after my promotion, I started feeling off. I was exhausted all the time. My boobs were sore. Coffee tasted wrong. I chalked it up to stress and a possible bug. Work was intense, and half the office seemed to be sick with something. Then I realized I was late. Like really late. My periods had always been clockwork on the pill. I was 10 days overdue. I took a test in the work bathroom at 10 a.m., fully expecting to see a single line and roll my eyes at myself. 2 pink lines stared back at me. I sat on the toilet seat, heart pounding, trying to breathe. I took 2 more tests over the next 24 hours. All positive. I told Ryan that night. He was ecstatic. He picked me up and spun me around, laughing, crying, saying, "Oh my God, this is happening, we're having a baby." I was numb. Happy and terrified and resentful and guilty all at once. "I've been taking my pills," I said weakly. "I don't understand how this happened." He shrugged, eyes bright. "Nothing's 100%, he said. "Sometimes life just finds a way." He said it like it was destiny. It felt like a theft I couldn't prove. Pregnancy was hell. I had hyperemesis gravidarum, the fancy name for you throw up until you're dehydrated and miserable. I lost weight in the first trimester. I had to get IV fluids twice. I had to tell my boss way earlier than I wanted to, because I kept running to the bathroom to puke in the middle of meetings. To her credit, she was supportive, but everything I'd feared started to happen anyway. Projects reassigned just in case. New opportunities passed over because "we don't want to overload you," whispers about whether I'd come back full time. At home, Ryan treated my misery like an inconvenience. "Weren't you the one saying you wanted more time for your career?" he joked once while I was hugging the toilet. "Now you get a break." I glared at him. "Throw up for 6 weeks, I said. "Tell me if it feels like a break." His mother was even worse. She came over constantly, patting my stomach, giving unsolicited advice. "You should be grateful," she'd say when I complained. "Some women would kill to be pregnant. God gave you a gift." I wanted to tell her God could have left my organs where they were. I was scared, and I kept thinking about those pills. Around week 14, when I could finally keep food down, I brought it up again. I don't understand how this happened, I said. I didn't miss any pills, not one. I checked the pack. It doesn't make sense. Ryan kissed my forehead. Sometimes it just happens, he said. Maybe it was meant to be. Don't overthink it. I tried not to. I tried to lean into the parts that made me happy, hearing the heartbeat, seeing the little profile on the ultrasound, picking names. But in the back of my head, a tiny voice whispered, something is off. The something didn't reveal itself until the third trimester. I was about 8 months pregnant, huge, swollen, barely sleeping. My ankles looked like tree trunks. Work had me mostly on light duties and remote. Ryan had started this habit of leaving his phone face up everywhere. It wasn't a big deal. I never had reason to go through it. We weren't that couple. He'd also started a new habit, long late-night talks with his mom on speakerphone while I half-dozed on the couch. Usually it was boring stuff, recipes, gossip about his cousins, updates about her church friends. One night, I woke up to the sound of my own name. She still complains about how unexpected this pregnancy was, his mom said. Honestly, what did she think would happen? You weren't going to wait forever. Ryan snorted. If I'd waited for her to be ready, we'd be 40 with no kids, he said. I had to give fate a little push. I froze. His mom laughed. Well, it worked, she said. She'll thank you when the baby is here. He chuckled. She'd lose it if she knew, he said, but what she doesn't know won't hurt her. My heart was pounding so loud, I almost missed the next part. Besides, he added quietly, it's not like I did anything crazy. I just swapped a few pills. The rest was biology. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. I very slowly turned my body so I could see him, without him seeing my eyes open. He was lounging on the other end of the couch, phone on his chest, talking casually. I focused on breathing silently while my world tilted. Swapped a few pills. His mom's voice dropped. Ryan, you shouldn't say that out loud, she hissed. What if she hears you? She's dead asleep, he said. And even if she did, who would believe her over me? The poor anxious pregnant lady versus the husband who's always taken care of everything. They changed the subject after that. Football, I think, I don't remember. I lay there, eyes closed, every nerve on fire. He had admitted to tampering with my birth control. To his mother. In my presence. Because he was that confident I was powerless. I didn't confront him that night. Or the next day. I did something much pettier first. I cried in the shower. I screamed into a towel. I punched a couch cushion. Then I went to the pharmacy. I asked the pharmacist to print my refill history. She did. There it was. Same brand name, same dosage, every month for years. Then 3 months before I got pregnant, a single refill of a different brand, lower dose, same packaging color. Why did this change? I asked. She frowned. You didn't request a generic, she asked. No, I said. I always get the same one. She shrugged. Sometimes doctors switch, she said, or insurance prefers a different formulary, but the hormone mix is slightly different. Some people are more sensitive to that. Could it make it easier to get pregnant? I asked. In theory, any change can reduce effectiveness if not taken correctly, she said. But it's hard to say. There are a lot of factors. I thanked her, went home, and looked up the pill brand he'd swapped me to. It had a lower estrogen dose and required very precise timing. My original brand had a bit more wiggle room. If you wanted to increase the odds of a miracle baby, this would be one way to do it. I still didn't confront him, not yet. Because now I had anger and suspicion. I needed proof. Proof came the next week, in the dumbest way possible. Ryan had a habit of recording little video journals on his phone. He wanted to capture the journey into fatherhood. Most were harmless. I was home alone one afternoon, nesting hard, trying to organize baby clothes. His phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. A notification from his cloud backup popped up. New video uploaded. Curiosity won. I opened his camera roll. Most recent video, dated 3 months before I got pregnant. Ryan filming himself in the bathroom mirror, whispering like a teenager doing a prank. "Okay, so, future me," he said, grinning. "Tonight's the night I'm finally ditching the wait until she's ready plan." He held up 2 pill blister packs. "This one is the one she's been on," he said, showing the original brand. "This one is the new one Dr. Patel prescribed for side effects. Lower dose, more chance of breakthrough ovulation. Doctor said either is fine. She's paranoid about reading inserts, so she'll never notice if I switch the packs." He laughed. "Call it giving fate a little nudge," he said. "We've talked and talked. She always has another reason to wait. Job, promotion, timing. I'm done waiting. Sometimes you just have to act." He winked at his own reflection. "If this works," he said, "you'll be a dad by next year. You can thank me later, baby." He ended the video. I stood there shaking, the phone slippery in my hand. He had recorded himself admitting to switching my meds. Not just in a casual phone conversation with his mom, direct to camera, clear, detailed. There was nothing to interpret. He had decided his desire for a baby trumped my bodily autonomy. He had acted, and somehow thought this would be cute to watch later. I did what any millennial woman with a survival instinct and a Wi-Fi connection would do. I emailed that video to myself and a trusted friend and my work email and put it on a USB drive. I screenshotted my pill history. I pulled our text messages from around the time of the switch, where I'd mentioned feeling off and he'd said, "Maybe you're just stressed." I wrote down everything I remembered from that night on the couch with his mom. Then I called a lawyer. Specifically, a family lawyer who also had experience with domestic violence and reproductive coercion cases. I'd never heard that phrase before. When I described what happened, she said it. "What your husband did is reproductive coercion," she said. "He interfered with your birth control to force a pregnancy you did not consent to at that time." I felt sick. "Is that illegal?" I asked. "Depends on the jurisdiction," she said. "Criminal law hasn't fully caught up, but family courts and some civil cases are starting to recognize it as abuse. Judges, especially in custody and divorce cases, take this very seriously." I told her I was pregnant, due in a month. She was quiet for a moment. "We're not going to blow your life up at 36 weeks, she said gently. "You need stability for the birth, but we can start documenting and planning." So we did. We made a plan for after the baby was born. Our daughter, Mia, came screaming into the world on a rainy Tuesday. Labor was long but uncomplicated. When they put her on my chest, everything else dissolved for a moment. It was just me and this tiny, angry, perfect human. I loved her instantly, fiercely, even knowing how she'd been conceived. That was the mind-breaking part. She was the product of a betrayal and the center of my universe. Ryan cried too. He kissed my forehead, took 1,000,000 photos, sent half of them to his mom before I'd even been stitched up. For a few weeks, I tried to live in the bubble. Night feeds, diapers, those weird little newborn squeaks. Exhaustion that felt like being underwater. I almost convinced myself I could let it go, that maybe he'd panicked, that maybe love and therapy could fix it. Then 3 weeks postpartum, I heard him on the phone again. This time bragging to one of his friends. "Dude, I played the long game," he said, laughing. "She kept saying, 'Not yet, not yet.' I got her pregnant anyway. She's not going anywhere now. She's totally locked in." "Isn't that messed up?" his friend asked. "Nah," Ryan said. "She always wanted kids. She was just overthinking. Sometimes you have to help people get where they already wanted to go." That was my line. Not the pill swap, not the video, not his mom. That sentence. "She's totally locked in." Like I was a contract, not a person. I emailed my lawyer that night at 3 a.m. while Mia slept on my chest. Subject line, "Ready when you are." Leaving with a newborn is terrifying. We didn't do it dramatically. No midnight escape, no cops at the door. We did it with paperwork. First, my lawyer filed for separation and temporary orders, primary physical custody to me, child support, and exclusive use of the house until we sorted things out, or, alternatively, permission for me to move with Mia to a new place without being accused of kidnapping. She included the video, the transcript, the pharmacy records, a statement from me, some screenshots. She also flagged this as a case involving reproductive coercion. The judge set an expedited hearing 2 weeks out. In the meantime, my lawyer advised me to act normal, not tip my hand, and to make a few quiet logistical moves. Open my own bank account, get a PO box, gather important documents. I did all of that. Then, 2 days before the hearing, I told Ryan I was taking Mia to stay with my friend Jenna for a few days to get some help with the baby. He was surprised but not suspicious. He liked Jenna and her husband. "Good," he said. "Maybe you'll chill out. You've been really moody." "I'm 3 weeks postpartum," I said. "Of course I'm moody." I didn't tell him Jenna's husband would be home the whole time, or that Jenna had a copy of the video in her Google Drive. We drove away with a diaper bag and a duffel of clothes. I have never felt heavier and lighter at the same time. When he got served with the separation and custody papers the next day, my phone blew up. Calls, texts, voicemails. At first, confusion. What is this? Is this a joke? Why would you do this now? Then anger. You're insane. You're tearing our family apart. You're going to regret this. Then denial. That video doesn't prove anything. You're twisting it. You wanted this baby anyway. I didn't answer. My lawyer told him all communication about the case should go through her. He freaked out to his family, of course. By the time we got to court, his narrative was locked. His wife had postpartum depression, had suddenly turned on him, had kidnapped their baby to punish him for finally wanting to start a family. He was very confident the judge would see me as unstable, hormonal, irrational. He did not realize the judge had already watched the pill swap video. Twice. The hearing was surreal. I sat at one table with my lawyer, still puffy and soft from pregnancy, wearing a dress that tried to hide my leaking breasts. Jenna sat behind me for support. Ryan sat at the other table with his lawyer and his parents, all of them dressed like they were going to church. His lawyer went first. He talked about how this was a high-conflict situation brought on by postpartum emotional instability, about how Ryan was blindsided by my decision to leave, about how we both wanted children, and this was just a tragic misunderstanding blown out of proportion. He said the video was a joke taken out of context. He said there is no allegation of physical violence or neglect. My client is simply a new father who wants to be involved in his child's life and keep his family together. Then it was our turn. My lawyer didn't start with emotions. She started with facts. The dates of my prescriptions. The video of Ryan holding up 2 different pill packs and explaining his plan to swap them. The audio clip of him telling his friend he locked me in. My consistent statements before the pregnancy about wanting to wait for children. My therapist's letter confirming I was not psychotic or incapable, just traumatized and anxious. She played the video out loud in court. The courtroom was silent, except for Ryan's own voice. I'm finally ditching the wait until she's ready, plan. She'll never notice. Sometimes you just have to act. The judge watched, expression unreadable. Ryan went white. His lawyer tried to object, saying it was obtained without consent. The judge overruled. This is a one-party consent state, he said. And in any case, this was recorded by the respondent himself. If anyone violated privacy here, it was him violating his wife's bodily autonomy. Then the judge looked at Ryan and said something I will never forget. Mr. Last Name, did you, or did you not, intentionally interfere with your wife's prescribed contraception without her knowledge or consent? Ryan stammered. The doctor said it was equivalent, he said. I just wanted to help things along. We talked about kids. That was not my question, the judge said sharply. Did you switch her medication without informing her? Ryan looked at his lawyer, then at his parents, then at me. Yes, he muttered, but she always wanted kids. She's making it sound like. The judge held up a hand. Stop, he said. Whatever justification you think you had, what you did is reproductive coercion. You took away her ability to make an informed decision about her own body and fertility. That is not helping things along. That is a serious form of abuse. His mom gasped like the judge had slapped her. My lawyer then asked me a few questions to show I was coherent, grounded, and focused on Mia's well-being. Do you intend to cut Ryan out of Mia's life entirely? She asked. No, I said. I want him to have a relationship with her as long as he can be safe and respectful, but I don't trust him with my body or my decisions anymore, and I don't want his family minimizing what he did. The judge nodded slowly. He took a long pause before ruling. Here's what he decided at that temporary hearing. I got primary physical custody of Mia. Ryan got visitation, but initially supervised by a third party, a visitation center, until he completed a parenting class and individual therapy focused on control and boundaries. Ryan was ordered to pay temporary child support. I was granted exclusive use of the house for 6 months, while we decided whether to sell or buy him out. The judge explicitly stated, in the order, that Ryan's tampering with my contraception constituted a serious breach of trust and reproductive coercion that the court cannot ignore. He looked directly at Ryan at the end and said, if you want any hope of shared custody in the future, you will take responsibility for your actions, complete the required counseling, and stop telling people your wife trapped you. The only person who set a trap here was you. Ryan's lawyer tried to argue that this was unfair, that I was weaponizing the system, that men don't get a say in family planning as it is. The judge shut that down fast. Men absolutely get a say in family planning, he said. They do not get a say in someone else's medication. Your client's rights do not extend to secretly altering his wife's medical treatment. We walked out with a stack of papers and a kind of shaky relief. My life was still a mess. I was still a brand new mom, sleep-deprived and scared. But for the first time, I felt like someone with real authority had looked at what he did and called it what it was: abuse. Not a joke, not giving fate a push. Abuse. The months since then have been complicated. Ryan, predictably, has been telling everyone who will listen that I overreacted, that I'm brainwashed, that the courts always side with the mom. His family acts like I blew up a perfect marriage over a misunderstanding. They conveniently skip over the "he admitted on camera" to secretly switching her meds part. Some of our mutual friends took his side at first. "You both wanted a baby anyway" was a common refrain. I asked each of them one question. If he had poked holes in condoms without telling me, would you feel the same? Some of them went quiet. Some doubled down. Those people are no longer in my life. Legally, we're moving toward divorce. My lawyer is pushing for a parenting plan that keeps me primary and requires him to stay in therapy. The judge has already signaled that unsupervised overnights won't even be considered until Mia is older and he's shown sustained progress. Emotionally, I'm in therapy trying to untangle two competing truths. I adore my daughter. I did not consent to the timing of her existence. Those things can sit next to each other without canceling each other out. I don't blame her for how she got here. I blame him. Sometimes late at night, when Mia is finally asleep and the house is quiet, I replay certain moments in my head. The way he said, "She's totally locked in." His mom's, "She'll thank you when the baby is here." The way the judge said, "This is reproductive coercion." And I think about all the women who never get the video, who never get the slip-up confession, who just have a vague feeling that something doesn't add up and a partner who gaslights them into thinking they're crazy. If that's you listening to this, you're not crazy for wanting control over your own body. You're not ungrateful for wanting to choose when and if you become a parent. You're not dramatic for being angry when someone violates that choice. What my husband did does not make me a bad mother for leaving him. It makes him a bad husband for thinking fatherhood gave him the right to own me. So what do you think? If you found out your partner secretly messed with your birth control because they decided you were taking too long to be ready, would you forgive them and try to move on for the baby, like his family insists I should? Or would you, like me, save every piece of proof, walk into a courtroom, and let a judge decide what family really means when consent is missing? Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like the video, tell us whose side you're on in the comments, and subscribe to Reddit Story Vault for more full Reddit-style stories about relationships, toxic families, reproductive coercion, and legal revenge every day.